Hello and welcome back to this tutorial, and today we are going to dive into building this our beautiful portfolio that we are going to customize later to our needs. But we are going to now dive into React. As we said from the last video, if you haven't seen the fundamentals of you getting started with React, you can check out in the last video that I'm going to link into this tutorial. So this is a simple web page. It's a landing page for Tony, who's a developer, as you can see here, and an ICT graduate passionate about coding for this case. So it's having a simple navbar here at the top with navigations to home page, about page, projects, contacts. I've not linked them to a real pages, but I'm just having it a boilerplate, and I'm going to show you how we are going to link it using different tools that are implemented in React. For this instance, React Router DOM for this case. So it's a simple web page, as you can see, with uh, a highlighting text here and some text here for this case, and then a button here, a nicely styled button. If I click it, it's supposed to take me to my projects so that somebody can view what are my projects and everything that I've been doing. So we are going to dive into creating this landing page using React and running it locally in our machine. As you can see here, we are going to learn how we can deploy it later in the course. So we can just get started with our React from where we left. I had prepared it within this code base, but I'm going to reset it so that we begin from where we left. So we were here. We created this component last time, which is our app component, and it was serving this code into our index.html. Just a quick review. And from the index.html, it's going to redirect, posting these codes into our index.html file here, which is our entry file to what we see in the browser. For this case, this is just a quick review of the previous video. So these files are structured so that we have our entry file here, which is an HTML file that we are going to see in the browser, and this file is served by an index.js file, which is a React file, I can say, for this instance, because it returns components which we created a route within the main entry file that is called root. And as we can see from the index.html, we have that root div here. This is where all our codes are going to be posted, and then in the index.js, we said that we are going to render what we said that was app, and the app, we had imported it from somewhere. It is a file that we created, a component. This file, if I navigate back to this file, if I save it like this, you're going to see the changes that we had last within our code. So it's returning a JavaScript XML file, JavaScript mixed with HTML tags, as you can see here. These are JavaScript function. As we said, we create function JavaScript function using the function keyword and then the function name, and then we're having this parenthesis and then the code, the block of code that we are going to return. So for this case, we are returning a div, which is an HTML tag with a message here saying hello, it's web dev with simple tech. We can just transition to see the updates that we had before we had modified it. Let me refresh it. Yeah, you can see here we are having it as we had it. So we are going to transition this website to fit our portfolio that we want to create to submit to our employer. So let's get started with the VS Code. Let me transition. So first things first, we need to discuss about these such functions. These are called functional components in React. A function component is a function that returns a JavaScript function that has some JavaScript logic, um, and within the function we have it mixed with HTML tags, as we said here. So we are going to start by modifying this file so that we can have what we want within the file, the entire section of the file. And just a quick update, we are not going to measure into CSS, but I had prepared some CSS stylings before, but just a quick review. I had prepared it in this app.css, this one. So here we just had to reset everything to default. By default, the browser has its margin, it has its padding, and I reset everything to be of border box, the box sizings of every component. And we have the body here. We specified some font family, that is these font families that we had here. I had selected them because they appeared nicely, and we had this. As we can see, it's just plain English, so it's easier for us to get adopted. So that is why I never minded focusing more on CSS, because I just wanted this channel to base ourselves on the knowledge of React, the logics and everything that you need to get started with React. So for this instance, we selected the body. We have selectors. That is a CSS way of getting elements. You just give classes or maybe select them by their tag name. For example, it's a div for this case. If I want to select this div and style it, I'll just use the div as in this div name here so that I can style it. But I can also give it a class name. As you've seen here, I give it a class name, maybe app, and then within my CSS I'm going to use this dot and then my class name. For this instance, maybe I can say, if I were to style the app, I say app and then I open this curly braces, and within here I'm going to write the logics, the stylings to be applied in the app class. That is what we've created in the um, in the in the in the main component. So we are having some navigation stylings here, which is a deep display of flex, and we are going to justify all the contents to be having spacing between, so that we can have the logo on this other side and the navigation on this other side, and we are aligning everything to center so that it doesn't appear to be on the bottom or at the top only. We are giving it a background color here. I had chosen this one for us. I give it a padding. Padding, these are the distance between the margin of that container and the content inside. For this instance, say we are having this container as I am selecting this one. So this distance from here to this number is what we call the padding, and the margin is the distance from here to the outer part of the container that we are selected. So I have given it 2 rems, 1 rem and 2 rem. So I'm putting its position to be sticky, so that it does, when I scroll it like this, it's going to stick, as you can see here. For this, for example, for this one, I'm going to see it. So I think I don't need to go much into it. I'll just develop the code as I just come here to look at how we had prepared the styling for that. But majorly we are focusing on how to create the components in React, how we are going to utilize it to create our simple, our simple portfolio for this case. So let's dive into our app component. So our app component just contains a div. I'm not going to give it a class here for this case. So just contains a div. Let me just eliminate this. This contains a div that has text, and within our div we can add other HTML tags. And as I can maybe predict, maybe you might have researched about some, but I am going to just go through it. So we are going to use, for example, a section tag to create some sections within our um our uh, our website, or maybe what is going to be displayed in the browser on a given page. So for this instance, we are going to create a section. Maybe I give it an ID for this case, which we are going to use as a selector, an ID of home, since we are creating a home section. So I can give it let's give it some content for this instance. So as we had seen first, we had the bigger highlight that was saying, hello, I am then Tony. So I'm just going to type it in a heading way so that it appears a bit larger. So I'm going to use an H2, and then H2 tag, and we write hello, comma, I am, and then say Tony for this case. And since we had seen that Tony was styled a bit different, it was a bit highlighted it was orange. I think it was orange. So we can just separate this one. We can use some HTML tag called span. These are very useful element that are going to help us style some text within our text. For this case here, can say here, and then we can add maybe an emoji. And for those who are finding it difficult to find emojis in your desktop or in your laptop, you just press the Windows key and then the dot button, and it's going to pop up um, um, uh, a small window with um, with the emojis, that is. But for my case, I had copied it somewhere. So I'll just be pasting. I don't know why it's not. Let me just look for. I don't know why it's not pasting. Let's just use even this. Let me paste this one. So yeah, hello, I am Tony for this instance, say here. And then we are going to have another section that it was maybe a p tag, as we said from the previous tutorial. So the p tag is going to give us simple, it's like it represents a paragraph, maybe some content that we had in some paragraph. So as we can say, aspiring developer, as we had in the first, and then you had this, maybe say ICT graduate, or maybe say a software, or maybe a computer science graduate. And then we had this just a simple way maybe to create that one. It's because I don't want to have a video that is too large and we go beyond what we are supposed to learn using this video. So for this case, I'll just say passionate. I don't know, I am having problems. Let me fix it quickly. Passionate about coding. About coding for this case, like that. So, and here we had a button, and that button, we are going to create a button that is a link to another section of the the section of the projects. For this case, say I want somebody to view my work, so I'll have a button. A button. Button this way, and then within the button we had an anchor tag that is used to add links. Anchor tag. And then we had an href, which is an attribute that describe the destination where we are going to land at. So you are going to write, for example, slash, maybe say work for this case. But since we don't have that section, I can just give it maybe a reference to an ID, say projects. This one I'm just having it like a reference to some sections, to a section within the page, but I'm just assuming this is a link for example. So projects, and then I can just say and then we close it here, and we give it the wordings that the menu title for that, what we are going to, that will be displayed for us to click, then we are navigated to there. So say view my work. So for this case, I think we have developed everything as we needed it to appear. And for better styling, since we are having only one div, one section, I can say within the section I just divide it into a div, just for styling purposes. I'll just tell you how we are going to style it. So if I save this one, and with by default I have prettier, which updates what I have saved. But if you want to just add it, you can just come to the extension and then you search it. If you have a proper internet, you search prettier. You have a lot of, yeah, so you go to prettier, and then you search for a section where it says, it's prettier. I had a typo. Prettier for pretty. So you come here, you look for a section written save on format. Format on save, not save on format. Let me just look at it. Go to settings. Features. You can even see here, we have it somewhere in our documentation. Format the document, so you can just ignore, you can add the different functionalities. But I think as you install it, I wanted to show you how you can have it in in a JSON file for you to just do it, but that I'll do that in another tutorial. So if we navigate to our to our um, to our browser, as you can see here, we are having not properly displayed content as we had before. But now we are going to add classes that I had defined before for us to get a proper view, a proper display of what we are seeing in this component. So I'm just going to give this section here a class name of home for this case. And home, if we can navigate to our, let me just undo all this, what we did. Yeah, because I can forget about it. So if we navigate here, home section, the home section, I had created a class here for an home section, and this home section, if I can just copy this class here and give the section a class name of home, as you can see here, and if I save, then sorry, I had not displayed the editor. Yeah, so here we had declared in the styles a section, home section here, as you can see. So I've just copied this class and then I've given the class this section called home section here. So if I had not defined the styling for the home section, I could have given it a home section and then navigate to where I had placed my styles and then give it maybe an height of 100 view height, and then a display of flex, justify content. I give it a background of a linear gradient here of 130 degrees, and then the color that starts and everything, so we can just see it. But we are just focusing on how we create those components, as you can see. So the way I've saved it, we can now navigate to the browser and try to look at what change it has. You can see it's now becoming a nice website. Let's continue styling it so that we can have the best view of what we have created. So we navigate back to our code editor, and then there's this other section. This is for this main container for the purposes of styling of the main container's height and width and everything. But this inside one that I had created, it's going to help us style the inner content and fit it correctly to the parent section, that for this case, or for the parent container. So we can give it a class. I had given it a class of intro for this case. If I save it like this and we just try to look at, and as you can see here, it refreshes and it can tell you, let me just remove this error here. It's an import that I have not used. So if I save it, yeah, it's successful. So as you can see here, I've given it a class name of intro. This class name of intro was selected here. Let me see the intro. I'm going to link, I'm going to, yeah, intro. So I had selected it as this is the main container, and then I give it a space and access something within inside the main container, and then you access the h1. For this case, we style it. So in the main container, we access the inner container, and then we access the h2 tag, and then within the h2 tag we have the span. For this case, like I can tell you, for this case we access the home section, and then within the home section we are navigating into intro. I mean, I was right, intro, sorry for the intro section. And then within the intro section we are having this h2 element, and within the h2 element we are selecting the span. So they are called parent to child selectors. You select the child of the parent by having a space, then you select. So if I've saved it, I just wanted to have this a quick one, so that I'll prepare, if I'll prepare a tutorial for the CSS. So let's navigate to the browser. So if I navigate to the browser, as you can see here, it's updating. Now we are having the styling. The tone is, you can see here, you see. So let's continue giving it the class names. So I'm just going to be a little bit quick so that we can catch up with. I don't want to make this video a long one. Yeah, I just wanted to have a quick one to just make you feel comfortable and just take a point or two from what we call as components. So we are having this button here. This button, we are going to give it, we are not going to style it for this case. I just want to give this anchor tag. It's an anchor tag. It's called a link tag, that you have it so that you can link it to somewhere within the page or somewhere outside the page, maybe to another web page for this case. So I'm just going to give it a class name of btn for this case, and we can just try to see. Okay, let me give it to the button. I can as well give it to the button so that we can see how nice it will look. So let me navigate to the browser so that we can, yeah, it has updated. I had forgotten to show you the code in the editor. So if I transition, you can just see here I had not given this class name before, but I have just given it to this button. So this button is obtaining all the stylings that are attached to a class called btn, which is in our app.css. This one, it's a .btn. So we are having an inline block, padding of and everything. So let's do the work. So you can see if I hover it, it's just displaying it very nice. You can see. So let's continue having it. Let's continue having it. I think at this point we are done with what we call the home page. The home page. So let's continue and now have our navigations, so that we can navigate to different routes of our page wherever we need it for this case. So we are going to create another component. Now I want to introduce you to a new way of structuring your application for this case. I'm just going to close all this. So if we wanted to create a component, we can just place it anywhere, but for the purpose of having a proper and a nice scalable file structure, you can just come here within the source file, and then you create a folder called components for this case. And within the components you have this maybe say a button, a like button, a navigation, a sidebar, and everything. So we create a file called navbar.jsx for this case. So in our navbar.jsx we are going to create uh, we are going to create the contents of the navigation for this case. So we are going to, first of all, I had all the codes implemented for the NavBar and the homepage within the app. You can see here I'm having the nav links and everything. So just have to just have the codes, and then so first of all I'm going to import my styles, that is from dot slash app dot css, but it's not in our current directory. If you see me pressing dot slash, it means we are in the current directory, then we navigate. But for this case we had created it, it's within the home directory. So for it, you can even look at the highlights here. Let me tell you. So you just have two backslash and then you navigate to the app, and then you just move out of this folder, and then within the folder here we are now getting the app dot css for this case. And then we create now a component. Say I will use an arrow function for this case, const navbar. I give it an arrow function, and then we have the contents, which is just a function that returns let me have the code that returns and navigation, the sections of our navigation, say the home page, the about, the projects and everything. So I'm going just to create them inside a nav component here, nav for this case. No. Let me it's the parentheses for this case, if you just wanted to have it a bit clearer. So it's a navbar, and then within the nav we are going to have maybe one side which is the logo, and then the other side which is the nav links for this case. So I'm going to have it as an h1, and we say my portfolio. Let me just have it folio for this case, and then we have the links, which I'll not be giving it maybe the listing. I'm just going to list them as an ordered list for this case. Let me have them this way. I don't know why it's displaying some error. No, I had terminated here. Let me just create it afresh. Return nav, and then within the nav we are having an h1 for this case, that is my portfolio for this case. And then on the other side, on the right side, we are going to have an unordered list of the lists of navigations that we have for this case. So we are having the home, we are having another one, the home, we are having another one, an li for about, We are having another one for projects, li for projects for this case, and another one for contacts in case somebody wanted to contact you. But since all these are links to other web pages, so we can just enclose them between the list element. Here it is an unordered list. When you see a UL for ordered list is an OL. So an unordered list with the list of, here we are having an anchor tag for this case to say, for example, you will have the actual URL that you will navigate to. So but for this case I'm just going to have it as home. Just it's an href to an ID within the web page that is called home. So I'll just have it inside here, and the same applies to these others. I can just copy this one, paste it this way, copy this one, cut, paste. Then we are going to have another, let me just copy this, and then we create it this way. So I copy it this way, I just cut it, I put it here, and then we are having the last one. Just going to copy this one, and then we'll modify it, and then move it here. So we are just going to have for about, it will be about, for projects it will be projects, for contacts, copy, it's going to be contacts for this case, as you can see. And all these I'll have them styled. So for this my this one, if I wanted to style, I'll just give it a class name of NavBar, and then we are going to have the unordered list, which are going to give them the class name for this case, that is logo. I can give it no, this cannot be a navbar because the navbar is above here. See, I'll have mixed myself here for this case, and then for the logo, now it's okay. For the logo I have it here, so that this is our logo. And then for the list, now we just styled the unordered list with the nav links. I had created it, now I remember. Class name, that is the nav hyphen links for this case. I just save it. So for this one, we must export the as default the nav bar component. So if I hit a save like this, it's not going to be displayed in our browser. Let me just transition so that we can see the browser. So here we are not having the browser because we had not included it in our home page for our case, for this case. So we are just going to add it to the home page so that we can have a proper view of what we've styled. So I'll navigate. First of all, we've imported the styles. So I'll just navigate to our app.js, which is our home, and then we are going to import the component now for us to get to use it. And the navbar component, you can see it, just you just type it a little bit, it will appear, and then you just press space or enter, and it's going to do its magic. So this, for this component to be used anywhere else, we've just declared it once. This is the power of React. Just declared it once, but for us to use somewhere else, we've just exported as the default export for this file. Can export other function, but this component is, we are exporting the navigation bar as a default function. So anywhere within my application, I don't have to redefine the navigation bar again. So I just import it like this, and maybe say I can use it within my section, which means it has to appear somewhere at the top here. I'll just call it, I'll have it as a self-closing tag for this case. So if I save it, and we navigate to the browser, it's taking a little bit a while. Yeah. So as you can see, we are having what we had seen at first, and this is how we've done it. So we've created our first component, that is the navigation bar. We've modified the component that we had before, that is the application component, and then we've linked the navigation component that we had defined here into our app.js file, which is our file that serves into the index.js, and then it serves into the main entry file. So as at now, I think you have a proper understanding of the basics of how we have a component. A component is basically a function in React that returns a JSX file. JSX means we have an extensible uh, version of JavaScript mixed with XML. So that is it for now. We are going to do more in the later course. Yeah, and I think I'm just going to dedicate and have a video that we are measuring on CSS. We just have fundamentals of CSS so that we just get a full knowledge on how we do the stylings for this case. But for now, I just focus on the logics and the the harder part of it. So thank you, and I wish you the very best. I hope you subscribe to the channel, and um, hit the like button, hit that notification button for updates. And I've noticed that the channel is having viewers who have not subscribed. I'll massively appreciate if you subscribe to our channel. Thank you.